I've got two different images, one on either side of me, that really depict the two different approaches that we'll take to life. Now, I want to come on to a teaching here and just highlight four different categories of people. But whether you believe that you can't, or whether you believe that you can, will determine the next steps that you take. All right, now these two images here actually represent an experience that I had maybe 15 years ago. So after leaving the military, I had a few years going through different careers. I tried different jobs until I found my sweet spot, as it were. Right, when I got into studying psychology and personal growth, self-improvement, sociology, this kind of helped me to develop a bit of a vision for my life. I started to see exactly who it was that I could become and what I could deliver upon to essentially make this difference in the world that I wanted to deliver upon. I figured, right, okay, I can practice as a coach, I can deliver self-improvement workshops, seminars. I know that I'm naturally creative. There are some skill sets that I can develop, i.e. I can learn to use different softwares for creating resources, develop multiple income streams over time. But it took me quite a few years to get there. Like if I'd just taken a goal setting course 15 years ago, that probably wouldn't have been enough for me because I didn't have any real set of direction, but I also didn't understand the transferable skills that I had at the time back then. I didn't understand what part my military experience was going to play in who it was that I was going to go on to become. Don't know if you can relate to that. But when I was practicing, kind of earning my stripes, if you like, practicing coaching, learning to figure out how best to interact with people in a progressive-based relationship, which is what coaching is, I commonly saw two different types of people, four mindsets, which we'll come on to in a minute. There was those people who would come along looking down at the ground and say, yeah, my life's broken, I need someone to fix me. I need someone to hold my hand and pull me out of the gutter. I'm down in my luck. I am just defeated. And then we had other people who were looking at the mountain of life, just asking the question, where do I get started? I just need a little bit of guidance, a little bit of support as I choose where it is that I'm going to get started. What is my starting point? All right, so where are you? Are you looking down at the ground? I'm defeated. I'm just looking for some inspiration or someone to help me, heal me, fix me. Or where do I get started? This will hopefully help you to start to source the right answers for you. There's four categories of people. It takes a certain kind of person to set goals and then commit to the process of seeing them through to completion. It doesn't take much to set goals, but it does take much to remain disciplined, consistent, as we commit to enduring, persevering, persisting. All of those require effort, self-sacrifice. Sometimes we need to say no to people in order to say yes to progress. And, life's all about balance. But if there's a direction for your growth, let it be this. Let this be the direction for your growth, right? You can use this teaching or this idea for setting a goal about your own personal growth, your own personal development, the kind of person that you actually want to become. And it might not seem that you're even remotely close to being who you want to be right now, but it doesn't matter, right? This is just the goal-setting process, all right? We set goals to define what we want our futures to look like, and then we commit to the process of taking action. There are some people who are just overwhelmed by life. Say, I want to set goals, or I'm sad, or I just want to feel better. That's not a goal. That's not a goal. Right? Some people say, I just have a goal to feel happy. I just have a goal to feel content. Oh my goodness. If your greatest goal in life is just you're pickled. Right? You're seriously pickled. You better off go and speak to a counsellor or a disempowered therapist or something like that. All right? Until people become problem solvers of their own lives, they ain't going nowhere. That is what they have to look forward to. Looking down, doom and gloom, sadness. And I'm saying this more than anything else to scare you. Now, I've been in this place. Not for long, granted, but probably about 2 years I spent busy, busy in a place of complete self-destruct. I ended up squandering all my money because of my lifestyle choices. Right? I was living life in a completely reckless way. My greatest goal back then was just to feel better about the existence that many people would refer to as life. Right? I was just existing, going around in circles, and I had no fulfillment. I was not content, experienced no peace. Because of the way in which I was living my life back then, I couldn't hold down any relationships. I was hardly an inspiring, individual that people wanted to spend time with. And this was one of the main issues that I had. Oh, people don't want to be my friend. Oh, people don't like me. Well, there was nothing likable about the way in which I was living my life. Completely self-consumed, wallowing in my own self-pity. 15 years ago, that's where I was at. So I stand before you today being completely authentic when I say you cannot afford to be here. I'm not saying that you are, but if you are, snap out of it. All right? Your life is your problem. Your emotions, your problem. Your goals, your opportunity. No one else's. No one else is going to make your life happen other than you. Now, this can be a really harsh reality check, but it's the one that most people in the world need today for them to wake up. We cannot afford to be in this place, overwhelmed by life. All right? Nothing good or useful will come from this. All right? It just steals from our future, being overwhelmed, stressed state, the down spiral. You can see how we're building idea upon idea upon idea here. So the natural evolution is to commit to the process of saying, right, so all these problems that I have in my life, whose problems are they? Are they someone else's problems? Or are they mine? Because personal responsibility precedes personal empowerment. All right? You will not experience any degree of empowerment in life until you take responsibility for becoming the change that you want to see happen in your life. There's no getting around this. All right? You can wait for someone else as long as you want to. You can wait for this magical, mystical business wizard or relational kind of healer or expert or emotional magician to come along and fix the problem that is your life. Or you become the solution by changing your mindset. Changing your mind about what it is that you're actually willing to live for. So instead of being overwhelmed, I am defeated, I'm beat, I'm done for. Oh, right. Okay, I've got a mountain to climb here. And this is it. This is the difference, it's a switch of mindset. I'm defeated by life. My life is a mountain. I'm done for. I can't do this. Or, oh, how am I going to do this? I can't do this. How am I going to do this? But I can't do this. How am I going to do this? I just can't do this. How am I going to do this? But I don't think that I can do this. How am I going to do this? Need I go on? This is what it means to be a problem solver. When we own the problem that is our lives. When we own the problem that can sometimes be our futures. But we can't stay here. All right? Some people will automatically feel empowered when they say, right, okay, I'm going to set some goals. Great. I've got my life. I'm looking at my life. I've got my life planning worksheet and I've just filled it out. Now I'm looking at my life. Now I'm all motivated and inspired. So let's get on to some action planning. Hang about. Just take your first step. Just a step. Doesn't matter what it is. Take your first step. All right? Because being a problem solver is not the same as being a goal setter. Being a problem solver is not the same as being a goal setter. Right? There are those people who are excellent goal setters. So great, this is one big goal. I've got one big mountain to climb here, but what's my first step? Right? And this is what then switches us away from being a problem solver, and it leads us into becoming a goal setter. What's my first step? What's my second step? Where am I going? Well, we already have a sense of direction now. So we've got a vision, which you should, on some level, already have through that resource if you work through it. So you now know kind of what you're working towards. And it's not about documenting a whole load of stuff. It's about taking your first step. It's about taking your first step. Now you might be saying, but I don't know what my first step should be. Well, that's okay, because now you can just step into a new level of life. There are those people who are new opportunity seekers. Do you know why it is that so many people just say, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for an opportunity to come my way. I'm waiting for an opportunity to come my way. Do you know where the opportunity lies? before them. What some people actually mean when they're referring to waiting for an opportunity coming their way is they're looking at their life as a mountain. They're waiting for someone to come along and build an elevator that they can just walk into, and it's going to project them right up to the peak of the mountain. Do you know when that's going to happen? It ain't. It's not going to happen at all. All right. So the opportunity is the first step. The opportunity is the next step. The opportunity actually looks like, okay, could I help someone else take their first step? Is there something that I could create or build or generate with my life that would actually make a bit of an improvement in someone else's life? And the idea here is, many people go through life as consumers, all right? There's a big difference between being a consumer of life and a contributor to life. Do you see the difference? Consumerism just kind of breeds complaints and criticism, for better or for worse. It doesn't make any difference. But contribution is different, right? Contribution is very, very different. Where rather than looking for other people's tools and resources and stuff to enable us and equip us, we start asking the question, okay, so what could I create? What could I contribute? Is there something in my hometown that would really add value to people's lives if it were in place? Is there a business opportunity here in Dunfermline, where I live? It's a population, I think, of about maybe 45, 50,000 people. Not a huge place, but there's like one men's clothes shop in the city, right? Or in the main town centre, which isn't even big. One men's clothes shop, and it's fine if you're like 16 years old and you like skinny jeans and you're like stick thin. But if you're like me and you've got like a bit of a six-pack going on, did I say six-pack? We'll reframe that as 12-pack. All right, you've got a bit of a 12-pack going on, you're not going to fit into half the young man stuff. So I've been complaining for years. Oh my goodness. Do you know what the opportunity for someone to open up a shop in this town and just sell like man's clothes? Like seriously, just men's clothes for like men who aren't skinny little boys, like men who've perhaps put a little bit of beef on over the years. You know the opportunity, my goodness, and I'll talk about it anytime I'm in town. Oh, the opportunity. But you know what I've done about it? Nothing. If I did do something about it, it would be the best men's clothes shop in Dunfermline. I reckon we would build a salon into it. I reckon we'd have massage, shoulder massages, stress relief, head massages, all that kind of jazz going on. Most likely have a cafe going on in there with some grilled cheese sandwiches. If I was to put in place a man's clothes shop, it would be the best man's clothes shop going. But is that in alignment with my main vision? No, it's not. But now I'm thinking about it, oh my goodness, I could, but maybe you could. The problem that many people have is that because they can operate out of this kind of consumer mindset, they don't set goals or innovate anything particularly entrepreneurial with their lives, because they just kind of compare themselves to what other people are doing and try to copy. Again, another example where I live, about 5 years ago, this revolutionary thing happened. Scotland, we used to be, we kind of still are, we're a nation of smokers, right? We like to smoke our cigarettes, not me personally, but people like to smoke their cigarettes and drink their coffees. You'll find old ladies, old gentlemen standing around, smoking their fags with like pipes in their necks, absolutely pickled their voice boxes, still smoking their fags. So this revolutionary thing happened. Someone opened up a vaping lounge. I know, see, this modern technology that came all the way across from the Americas, and people are now vaping, right? Sugar syrup rather than nicotine and chemicals. There's like pineapple and peach and strawberries and cream and stuff like this. And it was like, wow, something quite innovative in Dunfermline. So all the smokers, many gave up smoking kind of tobacco and cigarettes and moved on to the presumed to be healthier option. So the first one was quite innovative. Someone else, some other bright spark said, okay, I can see that's a busy shop, so I'm going to go and build one or set one up at the bottom end of the town. So then you've got two, which obviously dilutes the popularity of the traffic coming to the first shop. Fast forward 5 years, there is now 8 vaping shops in our small town city called Dunfermline, and there's still only one man's clothes shop. What I'm saying is, the opportunity is to innovate. The opportunity is to look at the gap. What frustrates you? What is lacking in your life? Because if there's something lacking in your life that you would really enjoy, something that you would benefit from, there's a pretty good chance that someone else would benefit from it as well. All right, just saying. This is what I'm talking about when we're talking about new opportunity seekers.